YouTubers, Pastor Bob NCC. Hey, I did that video the other day about Mars, and I had a whole bunch of people message me and tell me, pretty much the same thing. Hey, I go look at other people's videos, and I went to the websites that you told us about, and I see a bunch of rocks, and they can be anything. It's like looking at clouds and seeing a dinosaur or a bird. It can be anybody's opinion. Is there any substantial proof? And my answer to you is absolutely, and that's why I decided to make this video, because I've got some photographs, and I have looked at literally thousands of photographs, and I've kept the ones that to me are absolute proof. And I'm going to show you some of my best photographs, and in the end I'm going to show you my 3 photographs that absolutely prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's no interpretation to it. It proves that there is either life on Mars now or was in the distant past. So let's go through this. So first of all, this is a picture right here of the Martian landscape, and this is pretty much true to color right here. Now there's 3 places that we get these photos from, and it's from the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory or the official NASA website. And there's 3 places that these pictures come from. They come from the Spirit rover, the Opportunity rover, or the Curiosity rover. Now NASA released these pictures by the thousands, and NASA didn't really go over them. They'd look at them just like we're looking at this one right here, and they'd say, yeah, there's nothing there, and they'd go on to the next one. Little did they realize that people, myself and others included, were going to get these pictures and literally go over them with a fine-tooth comb, and the things they found were astounding. So let's just start this little trip right here, and we're going to start with Cydonia. This right here is Cydonia. This is the face on Mars. When the first person released this picture, they thought it was a joke. A guy who was NASA didn't even know it was going to release it. They saw the picture, he thought it was a joke, looked like a face. He released it, and people found it, and they went crazy. And the reason they went crazy was not just because of the face. NASA tried to say, oh, it's a trick of shadows, there's nothing to it. But then we got this picture from 3 different angles, and we realized it was a face. The thing that makes the face so special is what's around it. And this right here is called Cydonia. And that face has got several pyramids in the area. It's got a city. You can see the pyramids. Look at the angles on these pyramids. They're well worn. It's like something happened maybe thousands of years ago. But they're all there. And other pictures of Cydonia and the city, when you look at all these things, like look at this, you can tell that's a flat side, that's a flat side. You can tell it very well could possibly be a pyramid. So you have all these things together, and then you have the face right here. Now, when you look at this picture, you can say, you know what? That all looks pretty cool, but there's a chance it could be natural. And you would be absolutely right in saying that. So it's totally cool. The face and everything around it, totally cool. Absolute proof? Not hardly. Now, let's go on to some other things. This is a picture right here that was found, and this is an object that's sitting out on the terrain in Mars. Right? Could be anything. People see things like this and they say absolute proof. To me, it's not absolute proof. Number 1, it's not big enough. Number 2, I can't tell what it is. It's cool, but you can't tell what it is. Alright, so now let's go down here and let's look at some other things. Look at this right here. This is from Mars. If I was to show you a picture of an American forest, you'd know exactly what that was. Here's some other pictures of these trees like this. Let me show you this one. When this was first found, this is what NASA said. NASA said those are not trees, those are holes in the ground, and that's sand blowing up. So you can look at this picture, and if you think that that's sand blowing up, you're as nuts as the people at NASA. They had no idea people were going to find these in this photographs, but they did. And here's one of the ones that prove that these are absolute trees on Mars, and there's tons of photographs like that of these trees. But here's one that when you look at it, it kind of dispels their theory on its sand blowing up. Look at this aerial view right here looking down. You can tell that those are tree limbs. If you were to look down at a tree from Earth, you would know exactly what that is. Now, let's take a look at a few other things. We have what's called, these pictures have been found. There are people that believe that this is water. This is untouched. These are photos right from NASA. And if this is water, then someone put that in there. It's like a dam. There are several of these places where they're found. My picture didn't come up. That stinks. Here's that other one from a different angle. And it's water. You can tell. Trees and water. Now, let's get into the good stuff. This is what's called the Mars tubes. All over Mars. You can look anywhere. You start bringing up photos and you see this tube system. You can look right through them. They're like glass. They're about 30 feet in diameter, and they are literally all over the planet. Everywhere. What could it be? No way of knowing. People have said everything from a underground railroad system to a whatever to who knows what. But these things are all over the place. Again, is this proof of life on Mars? Not hardly. Not to me, anyway. When I want proof, I want real proof. So now let's start looking at some other things. I'm going to show you about 5 of my best photographs that I have ever seen on Mars. First one is this one here. A little bit grainy because it's highly magnified, but look at this right here, this set of wheels. Here's the back one with an axle connecting them. That right there, I can look at that and I can say, whatever this glob of debris is, I don't think that this and this are rocks. Absolute proof? No. But totally cool. And people will show you, there's tens of thousands of photos out there and videos on YouTube where people say, see, look at this. This is absolute proof. Well, you know what? It's not. It's cool, but it's not proof. Now I'm going to show you my 3 pictures that are absolute proof. And we're going to go with the second one first because it's borderline. Now let me show you my borderline picture, then I'll show you my 2 best. Let me find it. Okay. Here's the borderline one right here. Now when you look at this object, look at this thing right here. See this shape? It's a perfectly round object. No telling what it is, but it's definitely, I don't think it's natural. Proof? Not hardly. And this is why. Because we can't tell what it is. Great picture, totally interesting object. People have been freaking out over this for years, but proof? Not to me. Now let me show you one more that falls in this same category. And that's this little guy right here. Look at this guy. Sitting on a rock, it goes up, and it's got obviously something in the middle that is totally not rock. It's shiny. The sun is reflecting off of it. Cool object for sure, but is it proof? And the answer is no. Now I'm going to show you 2 more pictures that are absolute proof that something happened on Mars. First one is right here. And this is it. When you take a look at this picture right here, look at this object. I have 2 of these I'm going to show you. I have one that clearly shows the outline of this thing. The walls are 1 inch thick. It has the most perfect right angles all the way down. If you were to take a computer, a tower computer, and take all the guts out and put it out on the ground, this is exactly what it would look like. This object with these angles, that is not natural. There's no place. I've been all over planet Earth and I have never seen a square rock with total corners like this. It's hollow on this side. Never. Now, look around it. Look at this thing up here. This thing up here has a complete carved edge. The front of it is very smooth, like it's been tooled, like maybe it was a statue, and the back is completely obliterated. And here's the other part of it right down here. But the only thing in this picture that is absolute proof is this right here. because it is a square object which is not found in nature. Now, let me show you one more. I think I have one more clip of that. Oh, it must not be in this folder. Okay, now let me show you this one right here. This one right here is the most absolute proof I have ever seen that something happened on Mars. This object right here. This object was found by a guy named Joe White from Bristol, Tennessee. And he was going over Mars just like the landscape I showed you, and he was checking it square foot by square foot, and he came upon this right here. And you can see the face of this is absolutely clean, just like you cut it with a saw. But this thing is sitting upright. It's got 4 balls on it, and it's in the back. It goes from fat down here all the way up to thin right at the top. There is no way that thing right there could ever come about by nature. And this is located, Joe found this at the base of Mount Sharp in the Gale crater. Now let me tell you something about these images, all of them. When you take Cydonia, Mars, when you take the trees, when you take the water, and when you take objects that definitely look like they don't fit in, and then when you see like that box I just showed you and this guy right here, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that something happened on Mars. You know, if you were to take an orange, like you're going to peel it and you take a bite right out of the top, right? You take a bite right out of the top and you have this whole complete orange, but on the top you got this big chunk missing. That's the way Mars is. Mars has an area of its crust that looks like someone took a bite out of it. It's about 3 kilometers thick, and it covers just a great big old section, and it's just gone. All of Mars is in debris. You don't have to look very hard to find stuff like this, just like Joe did. You don't have to look hard. Every single place you look on Mars, there's debris everywhere. There's stuff just like this that you look at it and you say, that's not normal. There's stuff everywhere. The entire planet is covered. The entire planet. I saw one picture one time, I couldn't get it, but it was a guy that found what looked like a perfect Quonset hut with a road leading up to it. So what does all this lead us? Well, I'll tell you. To me, when I look at this picture right here and the one I just showed you with this box, right here, right there. When I look at stuff like that I know is not natural, that tells me one of 2 things. Either A, Mars was inhabited a long time ago and something very catastrophic took place, and possibly it could still be that way today. So that leads us to this question. Who could be there? Well, I know one thing that's an absolute fact, and that is the Bible. The Bible is absolute truth. If you don't believe that, doesn't matter. I believe God's word over anyone's opinion any day. So God says in the Bible, Paul wrote and told us that we fight against principalities and powers, against the powers of the air. He tells us that Satan's kingdom, his realm, is inside this planet, it is on the surface of this planet, and it is out beyond into the heavens, into our solar system and beyond. He has free reign to all that. And the Bible also tells us that at one point in heaven there was war. It doesn't mean inside God's domain, what we would call paradise. In the heavens, above the earth, there was war. Michael and his angels fought against the devil and his angels, and the devil lost. And he was cast down to the earth. All of his horde. I believe that what I see on Mars, there's a very good possibility that the angelic wars, the one that I just mentioned, very well could have taken place on Mars. No way of knowing for sure, but to me, that's the only way I can get it to fit into the Bible. But Satan and his kingdom, it definitely envelops Mars, and there's no doubt about it, something happened there. So anyway, look over all this stuff, and let me know what you think. Leave a comment. I'm sure that you have a different opinion than I have, and that's fine. That's what YouTube's all about, sharing opinions. If you would like to send me a message on my YouTube page, just message me, give me your email address, and I will send you this folder with all my best photographs in it, and you can have them. So do that, and don't forget, if you want to go look at this stuff for yourself, go to the Jet Propulsion Laboratory or the NASA's official website, and that's called mars.jpl.nasa.gov/MSL-raw-IMAG. Anyway, I hope you liked it. I hope you saw some cool stuff. And I'll leave you with the coolest thing of ever, and that's this stop sign. And if you think that this guy right here is natural, I got a feeling you're nuts. Listen, there's only two ways off this planet, heaven or hell. You give your life to Jesus Christ, you will live on into eternity. If you don't, you won't. Decide, my friend, because one day planet Earth is going to look just like this. Nothing but ruins. Nothing is going to last. This planet is going to be completely destroyed. Heaven or hell. Choose well, my friend. Just remember, once you take your last breath, it's a done deal.